This year's All NBA team selections change everything for the dynasty hopeful Oklahoma City Thunder. The inclusion of JDub to the All NBA third team puts him in a position to command a hefty fee come contract time, and the league MVP may be making $1 million per game on his next deal. I'm Gabriel Ebersole here with Thunder Digest, and we're going to break down all the nuances of how OKC is eating right now, but that bill is going to come, and it is going to come hard. First, I want to mention though that 68% of you guys watching are not subscribed to the channel. Thunder are in the middle of the Western Conference Finals. Game three is tomorrow. You guys want to get updates on post game action, off-season rumors, contract stuff like this? Make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you can get a plethora of OKC content and you can get notified whenever it drops. Without further ado, let's take a look at this right here. On the far right, we see our guy Jalen Williams getting an All NBA third team nod, and this came out earlier today to go along with his second team all defense nod that he earned the day before. So Jalen Williams, all star, all defensive team, and all NBA this year. A great season for him. And we're going to get into why this is going to matter to the front office, right? Because like Jalen Williams is the part of a big three for Oklahoma City, right? We're taking a look at Shai, Chet, and JDub, along with a great supporting cast of players that are also going to need paid. This is the biggest part right here because JDub and Shea were JDub and Shea, excuse me, JDub and Chet were drafted the same year, so their contracts and their extensions are going to hit at the same time, and JDub's is going to hit a little bit heavier with this selection right here, and he has the potential to make it go through the roof. Right, we're going to take a look at what he did this year real quick to earn this selection. We're talking about 21 and a half a game scoring wise, talking 5 rebounds and 5 assists. He gets it done all throughout the floor and on the defensive end as well. Like we talked about, second team all defense earned with zero point 0.7 blocks a game and over 1.5 steals. He's an efficient player as well, hitting a little over 48% from the field, and he shoots the three ball at 36.5%. This is a guy who's in his third year in the league, a former 12th pick for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And boy, he is living up to a great billing, and he has been playing phenomenal for our team and a very big part of this 68 win season, this one seed effort, and why we're up 2-0 in the Western Conference Finals, looking to get to our first finals since the 2011-12 season. Right? Jalen Williams is a very, very key proponent of that. However, when you're talking about a team that makes a lasting impact on the league, a historic team, what do they have in common? We're talking about like the Showtime Lakers, the Spurs, dynastic teams. They keep the big three intact. They're able to keep those core championship players for prolonged periods of time. When we look at what the Thunder are dealing with right now, these are our contracts. Next season, it needs to be noted, we have the same exact roster inked next season that we did this season. The only difference is Nikola Topic's going to be coming back from injury, our first round pick from last year. So that'll be an addition to our team. Hopefully, playmaking wise, he'll be able to stretch the floor as a big. But we're looking at largely the same team inked through this year, and this is sorted by salary. And you're going to see very, very low down this list. Second to last is Jada. His rookie deal, he's making about on average 6 million a year, right? So when he's able to command this extension, this all NBA third team is going to have a huge, huge, huge impact, right? Because like we see here, we're talking about a guy who's making $6 million a year right now. And what is he going to be able to command exactly? Let's take a look. Talking about a guy who's going to be able to command that rookie extension eligible can sign for 30% of the cap, but only if they are named All NBA in 2 out of the prior 3 seasons. In the case of Williams, he is allowed to negotiate up to 30% of the cap, similar to Cade Cunningham of the Pistons and Evan Mobley of the Cavaliers, if named All NBA, Depoy, or MVP in 2025-26. And this was by Bobby Marks of ESPN, and he showed us on his Twitter. So, like you just saw, if he is able to hit this same threshold next year and make the All NBA, if he's able to win the Depoy and he already made it the second team this year, this is the guy who's on the rise, guys. So we're like, there's no reason to believe that he's going to regress unless someone steps up and takes this spot from him. It's very, very reasonable to think that JDub is going to make this team again next year and be able to command that 30% of the salary cap. This is very going to play a large part in who we're able to retain as role players, right? the strength of this team is the depth, the interchangeability of a guy like a Caruso, a Cason, an Aaron Wiggins to step in at any time and to create an impact. With with Jalen Williams able to command up to 30% of the cap, a lot of that luxury is going to dissipate for this team. When we're talking about specifically about the cap, let's take a look. This is the cap the last 3 years in the white on the bottom, and this is the projected cap for the next 3 years on the top. So we're seeing a 10% increase from this season, 24-25, of 140.5 million up to 154.8 million next year. About a 10% increase, and then they're projecting that it's going to stay about a 10% increase, right? Because we're seeing CBA, collective bargaining agreement between the Players Association and the owners, TV deals switching from TNT to Amazon, Rip Inside the NBA, one of the best halftime shows. But there's more money to go around the NBA, and the players are going to get a cut of that pie, right? This is going to help the Oklahoma City Thunder stay intact with these increase because the sooner we get these extensions inked out, the more the increase is going to help our ceiling and just have our more depth to sign more players. So taking care of these extensions, hopefully in the season that they are eligible to be signed next season for JDub, is going to be huge for this team. We're looking at this is also a young team. Yes, they have 68 wins this season. Yes, they're the one seed. But do not forget that this team last year was the youngest team to ever get the one seed with 57 wins. And they improved 11 wins after that. This team has room to grow, and they keep continuing to show it. When we look at what they were able to do between last year and this year, they were the youngest team this season to win 60 games in the regular season. And they won 68, tied for fifth most ever in regular season with an average age of 24.2 years old. 24.2 years old. The average age about in the NBA is 27, 28 for a lineup, right? And this team is significantly younger than that running through teams. The only challenge this team is going to have in the foreseeable future is keeping the roster and keeping the key pieces intact, right? We are 6 wins away from winning a ring with this team. Even if you believe that they aren't going to get it done this year for whatever reason, this team has room to grow just due to their their time in the league. Like even Shai winning MVP, I would argue he hasn't hit that prime level yet. And this is going to be very important when we take a look at Shai specifically, a guy who was selected to the All NBA first team. Additionally, today he was named and he accepted the MVP before Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals. When we're looking at what Shai's done this year, we're talking about a guy who's averaged 33 points a game, 5 rebounds, 6.5 assists, a block, almost 2 steals a game. An insanely efficient player, shooting 52% from the field and 37.5% from three. Like an offensive juggernaut is what we're talking about here, who has room to grow and just won his first MVP. But when we talk about retaining these players, the importance of a guy like JDub being able to command 30% of the cap, this plays monumental impacts on what they are able to do. Why? Because we see here, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander could earn almost $1 million per game if he signs the 5 year, $380 million extension he's eligible for next offseason. He was eligible for this extension by winning the MVP. Let's take a deeper look into the contract nuances of what Shai is able to get, right? This is done by a piece by Jack Bauer on Yahoo Sports, and he was going into what Shai was able to sign. He's able to sign this offseason right now if he wants to. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander met the Supermax criteria, all NBA in 2 out of the last 3 years. He's been first team all 3 of the last years. Last offseason, but was ineligible to sign because he was short of the years of service criteria. Okay. He is eligible this offseason to sign a 4 year, $293 million extension with Oklahoma City. That would have been what he would have signed this offseason had he not won the MVP and got the first team nod this year. Now he's going to wait, and he signed the rookie extension of 5 years, 173 when he was eligible. He's going to wait out. He has 3 years left on that deal. He's going to wait out, and he's going to sign it the next offseason because he has this year left and then the next two. He's okay with taking that wait and making about 30 million until then. But when that bill hits, man, it is going to hit. He's going to be making almost $1 million a game. Oklahoma City is not the Los Angeles Lakers, the Golden State Warriors, the Boston Celtics. They're not like this team that can dip heavily into the luxury tax. We saw this exact scene play out back in 2012, back with Harden. Like when Harden had to leave because we couldn't dip into luxury tax, and then we did it for Ibaka anyway. But that's besides the point. This team isn't going to be able to like just pull a Golden State Warriors and pay $50 million in luxury tax every single season. For us, continuing to make smart deals and stay ahead of the curve and get better production than the contracts that we're paying for is going to be huge in continuing the success of this team and whether it can be a dynasty or not. Very, very, very large implications. When we take a look at what Shea is able to do now. However, players become eligible for 35% of the salary cap, the Supermax, if they enter their eighth or ninth season with either an MVP award in the past 3 seasons, check for Shea, or all NBA selections, or Defensive Player of the Year award in either past season or 2 of the past 3 seasons, also check for Shea. Player also has to be playing for either the team that drafted him or one that acquired him during his rookie contract. Shea was acquired in the trade for the Paul George trade for the Clippers during his rookie contract, so he also meets this criteria. He can command right now the single most expensive contract in the league, and Jalen Williams also being able to command 30% of the cap alongside that is going to cut into the depth that this team is able to retain. This is very, very large when you look at the big long-term picture of this team, but especially when you look alongside Chet. But I don't want you guys to fear too much, so I'm going to show you last thing by Bobby Marks, who was breaking down a lot of these contracts, and he says, and for the people that think extensions for SGA, Jalen Williams, and Chet Holmgren will break up this OKC team, I have news for you: it won't. So he's hopeful that the core can remain intact. Whenever, and I am too. I do think that we can retain the big three if we wanted to, but a lot of the pieces, the guys that are chipping in for low value, for under $10 million. When we go back to these contracts over here, look at the value of some of these players that you're getting. You're getting Caruso around. He's making 9 million this year, but he's gonna make it 8 next year. You're getting guys like Cason Wallace for about $5-7 million. You get guys like you're gonna have Nicole Topic for 5 million for the next couple of years, and you're gonna have once again Jalen Williams making $6 million. For him to turn around and go from a $6 million player to a $6D million player is going to impact the team. It's going to impact the team and what we're able to spend. We're gonna have to tighten up the budget in other places. This so for him, if he's able to make this All NBA team next year, if he's able to win the D point next year, this was the first step for him in accomplishing that and achieving a contract that's going to obviously secure him for life and beyond. But the stakes of this franchise and sitting together, this All NBA third team selection for Jalen Williams, it is the beginning of a lot of questions in the future for how this team is going to stay together. We have a plethora of draft picks that can either be used for draft or trade. So we're gonna have, and like I said, the roster is full. Come back next year. So these are assets that are gonna have to be used, and we're gonna have to figure out how we're gonna use them. And a lot of that's gonna be determined by the guys at the top of the payroll, guys like Shea and guys like now Dub, who are gonna be at the top of that. This has been Gabriel Ebersole breaking down some contracts and a little bit of payroll stuff for the Oklahoma City Thunder today. It was good to bring you guys a little bit of different content. I'm excited for Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals tomorrow. Drop a score prediction below. Let me know how if you think we're going up 3-0, because I know I do. I'll see you guys in the next one. Gabriel Ebersole with Thunder Digest out.